Hang your head. I hope I don't get demonetized for that. Check it out. I miss all the old cool album covers. So a few years ago I started kind of collecting the LPs. I don't know which. I think Soul Shooting Star is probably my favorite. I don't think they do that kind of stuff anymore. This one here, unopened from 1984, still in the cellophane. Shinedown drumsticks, autographed Shinedown Amaryllis CD, and Y&T drumsticks. Some Boston Dio, the Cars. Oh, Sammy, we're going to go see Sammy again. Just saw him a couple months ago. Rush, my favorite. I've got a couple more to hang up. Some Foreigner. What's this other one? I forget what this other one is underneath. My son got me these. Oh, Styx. Yeah, and these are originals. They're not redone. Firm. Roger Hodgson from Supertramp. Rush, Rush, Rush. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. Well, they're all good. I mean, how could they not be? Monsters of Rock, summer of '88. 8-hour concert, Alpine Valley. So I got a few more things to do. Pretty much all hooked up. Everything's bolted in, and I discovered that when I was taking the hose off, well, you can't see it, but that's okay. Maybe. Power steering pump, I was taking the low pressure hose off, and since it's made out of plastic, it decided to break, and I didn't know it until I put the engine back in. So I got to get another power steering reservoir / pump and install that while it's in the car. Doable, I'm sure. Probably going to make me cry. It'll be okay. That's fine. Other than that, it's pretty much a couple of things. I got to get some more vacuum lines because these were rotted and busted, but it's going to be 70 degrees today, and it's sunny. So you can sit here, Intimidator. This is where I'm going to roll. 2011 Harley Davidson Nightster 1200. I'm not a Harley guy, but it's a nice bike. I got my every concert I've been to, well, most concerts I've been to, I've got my little keychains that hang here, Scorpions. Oh yeah, Scorpions. So yeah, guitar picks and whatnot, you know. Starman, Y&T. I know this is supposed to hang down lower or something and keep the gremlins from getting you, but I don't believe in that garbage. Tesla, baby. Seen Tesla a million times. We had to quit following them because we were becoming like a Grateful Dead thing. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, a real good one. So this bike came pretty much bone stock, and I put the backrest on it. I put this on it. These came from Harley. These are aftermarket bags. They were, the bolts that were holding the bags were starting to wear on the leather, so I cut a couple of rubber bushings off of something, I forget what, and just stuck them under and zip tied them. That keeps them from wearing out. I had put this seat on. The pillion, I think is what they call it, with the backrest, and that's all from Harley. And then I don't like buying things from Harley because it's really expensive. This actually had a stain on it. Someone laid it down and oil got all stained up in here. So I homemade powder coated that to kind of match this. It's close. It's a little darker, a little weirder. All I did was spray it with some black primer and then misted it. Stood way back here and misted it with some white and gray. There's about 7 different colors in that thing, but just trying to keep matching that, and it came out pretty close. This is obviously factory, and this was just black, so I dig it. And then this, I put these bars on. Ended up, I bought these online. Harley wanted about $4.3 million for these, and I wasn't having that, so I bought them online for $100. Put them on, and they actually sat this way, you know, like way out here, where it was. I had to put these pegs up super high just so my feet would reach, because I'm short, and eventually I'm going to sue the town for making the sidewalks too close to my butt. But what I did was cut it here, and here, and here, and here, and spun them around. Put this one on that side and that one on this side, so that they're going the right way. And now they're not in the way of the wheel, and I can put my feet on it and be comfortable. I did have a bit of an issue with this thing. They tell me that's pretty important, you know, stuff plugs into it. Well, my battery kept going dead on me, and the light would come on. One night I ended up riding this thing home in the dark with no lights whatsoever. I don't recommend that. It's scary. So I kept putting it on the charger, and it would charge, and I could ride it for about an hour, and then the light would come on and the battery would start going dead. Was it the battery? Is it the stator? Is it the blah? Is it that? Most people say it's that thing. I don't know what that is, but it's stupid. So I took it off just to get a number so that I could buy a new one just to replace it and see. And when I took it out, there was a bunch of oil in this guy where they connect. So I cleaned all the oil out and dried it out, and it's been doing really well now. So today's the first actual ride I'm going to take on the thing since I've cleaned all the oil out. And we'll see how long it lasts. As soon as that light comes on, I just come heading back home, and I'm good, as long as I'm not more than an hour away. Flat blacked the chrome speakers that I got from Boss Audio. They're not bad. Little volume control right here, and then I got this ILYA, whatever that is. That's, you know what? You put a phone in there. I've gone pretty fast, you know, speed limit fast with the phone in there, and there's no problem. And that way I can just kind of skip songs on Spotify while I'm listening. It's Boss Audio, whatever. I've got the Bluetooth amp in this bag. Got an aftermarket light, again, not from Harley. I'm not a Harley guy. If it's got wheels, I like it. So yeah, I had to put this on hold for a little bit anyhow, because the Intimidator, well, we're loaning out the Durango. So we're loaning out the Durango to someone who needs a vehicle right now. And it needed an oil change real bad. Really bad. You'll see. So anyhow, yeah, because I pulled the dipstick tube, or the dipstick out of the tube. Look at that. It's like kind of tarish / asphalt. So that needs to come out. New stuff needs to go in. This is that's not happening anymore. This is a 5.7 Hemi. It has close to 300,000 miles on it. We've had it since almost day one. Actually, it was a year old when we bought it. Had 30,000 miles on it. Power steering went haywire on me. So you can't drive without this belt. and this eventually would just give up the ghost, and it was making noise and stuff. So I'm air conditioning, and I just got a smaller belt. There you go. I don't remember what size it was, but it works. It's been working for a long time. Just don't have power or air conditioning. That's all. Air conditioning is highly overrated. It's for sissies. So yeah, when we got the engine, got the vehicle, we drove it. Was fine. Everything was perfect. After 100 and some thousand miles, lifters started collapsing. My fault, because I didn't change the oil, and when I did change oil, I wasn't using the 520. Highly recommended to follow the vehicle specifications, but I didn't do that, and lifters started collapsing on it. Well, Dodge, the lifters on these Dodges, on these Hemis, originally back then, didn't even have a hole in the side of the lifter for oil. It was fed through the push rod. Apparently insufficiently, especially if you don't use the thin oil. So I ended up having to change lifters. And then it happened again, so I changed the other side. Not a fun job, because you see this? Well, there's a whole lot more engine back there. And with the typical engine, you just pull the intake off and there's your lifters. You can pull push rods and pull lifters and change them. Not on these Hemis, you have to pull the head. So yeah, that was quite a chore. Did it, no problem. Put aftermarket lifters in there. They have a large oil port on the side, or oil journal, or whatever you want to call it, on the side of the lifter. Lets the oil in. The tapping stopped, started running right again for the next 200,000 miles. So, but here's the problem with this thing now, with this thin oil, with as many miles as it's got on it, as worn out as the bearings are, and the crank and the rods and everything, there's a oil pressure issue. So when the oil heats up, or if you're using that thin oil, it starts tapping. You hear a rod clunking around a little bit, maybe a main bearing, and then when you stop at a stoplight and the idle goes down, the light starts beeping saying oil pressure, beep, 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 beep. Oil pressure drops to 0. So I run that cheap, thick goo, and then I throw a couple of these in there with it. This is like, it takes a while to get it out, but I'll dump some out and then put some oil in there and shake it out and dump it in. And as long as it's fresh, you know, it'll last 2,000 or 3,000 miles. About time to change the oil, that's when the light starts coming on again. So that's just to keep the oil pressure up, because the bearings are worn out, and that's where your oil pressure's at. It's not actually crank and rods and everything touching bearings. It's supposed to be a cushion of oil in there. Well, when those bearings get worn out, there's a bigger gap, so that doesn't stay in there, this 520. Thicker oil gets in there and stays, and there's a cushion in there. And you know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say that's wrong, don't do it. I don't care. It works. It's been working for a long time. You don't have to do it. I'm telling you, you don't do it. You should always do it the way they say it. But you know, then when your car's at 150, 200,000 miles and it's given up the ghost, and this one's still going 90 miles an hour, hits passing gear and throws you back in your seat. Yeah. So it was time. Oh, pretty thin, pretty black. Yuck. I did have a little difficulty getting the drain plug out. I'll show you why in a minute. So the drain plug on the Durango, the bolt, the oil drain plug, is pretty rounded off. I'm sure it's the factory bolt. It's probably the factory gasket. It doesn't leak, unlike the, you know, I don't want to say anything in front of him. But so what I did was, everything I tried to put on there wouldn't work. I finally found this deep wall impact socket 1/2 inch. This is probably supposed to be a 13, and it's not anymore. It's you know. So I took this and smacked it on there. Got her to come loose. It was pretty tight. Now it's stuck in there again. So what I need to do is go buy another one of these, obviously. So the next time I go to change the oil on the Durango, what I'm probably going to do is just take this and tape them together and label them Durango oil plug removal tool, because that's going back in. So the old oil in the old filter's out, black as night, runny as slime. Always want to check and make sure that the old gasket stayed with the filter, and it did. So now, just to make all the experts mad a little bit more, we're going to use that because it was like $4. And wait for this. I take a little bit of old oil and run it around there like that, so it doesn't bind up when you're tightening it up and get kinked. And I'm not going to put any oil in there. I'm just going to put it under like that because I never did before. Why would I start now? So now I'm going to put back my 520 oil. No, I'm not. The 5.7 Hemi, at least the Durango here, takes 7 quarts. And I think 1 in the oil filter, but I don't fill the oil filter because I don't care. Because that oil filter is going to have oil in it pretty quick as soon as it starts up, if the oil pump still works. But thick oil for the worn out bearings is the way I roll. Bet I'm making friends everywhere. This stuff, it don't like coming out so much. Watch this. Squeeze it, get it down in there. It's clogging up the funnel right now. I'll put a little oil in there, mix it around, get the rest of it. I'll have to chase that down with this. Definitely need the chaser. Slosh that oil around a little bit, get some more of that good stuff. Squeeze that oil in because it's thick. Summer's coming. This engine's going to be hot. Probably going to get another 150,000 miles on this engine before I change the oil again.
You can't put that stuff in that oil. You gotta fill the oil filter before you put it in the car. What are you doing? How did that engine ever last so long? My uncle told me one time you can't do that.
Hey, where's all the rebar? That slab's gonna fall apart. I can't believe you're not using any rebar.
There's a school across the street, so if you think there's a bunch of children being in trouble, they're not. Lunchtime. Alrighty. Last of the goo. Oh, I think I was going to put another one of those goos in there just in case. Actually, I better check it. Make sure it's only like 1.5 quarts high.
You can't check it till you start it. What are you doing? Crazy old man.
There's a thumbnail.